How is going, guys? It's Burgas here. You know what is funny? Every single time a new city skin coming in Call of Dragons, the first thing I see is excitement. Everybody starts talking about it. Everybody starts saving for it. Everybody starts planning for it. Well, to be fair, from point of saving, not everybody is going to start saving the moment the city skin get released. I personally save like 9 months till I get this beautiful city skin that currently I'm having. But anyway, everybody start actually to planning for this city skin. And then a couple days later, somebody actually start looking at the numbers. And suddenly the conversation change. And that's exactly what happened with this new infantry city skin. Now, for the people who don't know, we're talking about this city skin. Somebody maybe in the season 1 and still not be able to see this city skin. But this is the, maybe in the season 1, nah, I don't think it's season 1. But anyway, this is the new infantry city skin. Conquer Funk. It's actually looking like some kind of automobile with some nitro behind, but what is the important thing is infantry unit attack resistance. Now I'm going to go in deep over this because I spoke with customer support of Call of Dragon game, and they told me and give me some extra information about this city skin, but it's not the point. Is what exactly is happening every time a new city skin is coming, and what exactly happened with this infantry city skin. Because when I first hear about it, I thought, okay, finally infantry players are getting something excited. And to be fair, this city skin is looking like badass. I mean, like the mage city skin. The moment they show up the mage city skin that I'm currently having, even with the dormant, was like, brother, I don't care what kind of stats is gearing, is looking absolutely amazing. But yeah, let's get back. I personally feel it's mistake my city skin that I get, the mage one. Some people are going to argue with me. It's fine. It's fine. I mean, imagine if you save like me like 9 months and somebody told you that this city skin was not the best thing. But anyway, let's get back to the infantry city skin. Because yeah, the infantry players are excited. Welsh Krakens are infantry players. The majority of the time, they are the one who is non-stop sending infantry on the battlefield. Now, then what happened and why I'm actually creating this video is when I start reading what people are saying, I start looking at the discussions that is happening over this city skin, and I start seeing experienced infantry players talking about it. And instead of excitement, I keep seeing disappointment. Now, whether that happen, I pay attention. You definitely pay attention when the experienced old proven players are talking. I'm not infantry main, but I pay close attention to this type of players, because usually when the community get excited, they're emotional. It is what it is. This is one of the mistakes the people, and from there, when the people become emotional, a lot of mistakes are happening. This is not the topic for this video. But when the experienced players get disappointed, they normally have a reason. And what surprised me wasn't the people dislike the skin. What surprised me was why. Because the argument wasn't this skin is terrible. The argument was, wait a minute, is this actually better than what we already have? And brother, that's completely different conversation. Because most players don't lose resources by choosing terrible options. Most players lose resources by choosing options that look slightly better than they actually are. And this is with this city skin. Everybody is trying to make a comparison with the previous city skin. Obviously, the number here is going to be so far 10%. infantry. 10% is going to be the main thing here. With the adornment, maybe it's going to jump to 13%. So it's basically the same everywhere except the first city skins where there is just no adornment. It's just the city skin. And one of the interesting thing is this city skin is not, maybe so far is still going to be, from my first look, maybe it's still going to be one of the best one. But let's get back to this one. And yeah, I remember looking at and I have done this thing by myself, when I'm looking over my heroes, when I'm looking at the artifacts, looking at the pets, and I'm thinking new thing must be stronger. And this is normal to happen in the people brain, because everybody expecting this power creep to happen in the game. It can be today, it can be, this hero, that hero, but sometimes it's not actually the case. There is always a power creep, so you can, go and buy the new stuffs that are presented, but at the end of the day, sometimes it's not like this. And after playing this game for years, like 4 years, I realized that one of the easiest traps to fall into, especially if you're not spender, because if you're a spender, here is the thing. Now I want to make little separation between spenders and free-to-play players, WoW spenders, and on the other side is mid spenders, WoW krakens. Because if you're a spender, maybe you can recover from this mistake. If you're a free-to-play player or WoW spender, every decision matter, every investments matter, every skin matter. And that's why I think this discussion is more important than the skin itself, because it reveals how players make decisions. Now, one comment catch my attention immediately. A player asked how the new infantry skin compared to HP and defense skins is in open field. Simple question, normal question. And the response was brutal. The response was basically, it's really bad, not average, not sustainable, it's not depend, just bad. And when I saw that, I thought, okay, either this guy has no idea what he's talking about, or there's something here worth looking at. So one of the things when I saw this comment is, you have to know your troop. If you're buying something for the infantry, you have to know which stats you're boosting. And to be fair, the HP stats is the biggest stats for infantry. So investing in the HP is just going to give you bigger number in form of boost. So what do you prefer? Extra 20 attack or extra 10 HP? Or other way around? Extra 20 HP or extra 10 attack? Obviously, the people are going to keep the biggest number, because by default, the biggest the number of the stats of the troop, the more supported is these stats. So what I mean by that is infantry obviously is defense, a lot of buffs about the HP for the infantry, also survivability, having this ironclad, reducing the range damage that the infantry is taking. Everything is around defense. So whatever you see in form of HP boost or defense boost is supporting this type of troop. Other way around, I can say maybe is for ballista. Now the ballistas here, the biggest stats they're having is the physical attack. So what the troops and heroes are doing in this direction? If I open and show you one of the heroes, maybe Margaret, one of the famous marksman heroes, you're going to see that her spell is doing 450% normal attack damage bonus. So this is in support of what is the normal attack of the troop, and having biggest normal attack, obviously the Margaret is going to do biggest damage. I just wanted to point out this thing so you know how to look the stats, and this is going to be one of the most accurate ways to see if something fit for your troop or not that much. But anyway, let's get back over the new city skins. So I keep reading and the explanation because I was interested in this. And the player said that the skin basically feels like it's canceling out the enemy attack stone. That was the comment, and it's like 10% attack resistance. The mana stone we're talking about is 10% attack. So so basically what the player was saying was, if the enemy is getting mana stone plus 10% attack, he basically eliminate my advantage, this the advantage of the city skin that I'm currently having, just by having this extra 10% attack. And when I spoke with the customer support, they told me that if the enemy is having 100% attack, this 10% attack resistance is going to make his attack 90%. Now, obviously, when you influence the attack, is going to reduce the normal attack damage, is going to reduce the hero skill damage. Hero skill damage also get boosted by the attack you're having and stuff like this. But it's basically like removing one mana stone, and that's it. Now think about that for a second. Players waited for a new city skin, because new city skin is coming every 8 months, because you have mage, cavalry, marksman, and then infantry. Players waited for a new infantry skin, and the way some players are describing it is congratulations, you cancel one mana stone. That's not exactly the reaction you want from a premium investment, because this is the newest city skin in Call of Dragons. And you don't want to see like, okay, you basically remove one mana stone of attack of the enemy player. And then another comment appear. Current speculations is that the old 5% skin might actually be better. And by old 5% skin, the players mean this city skin that is giving infantry HP extra 5%. I'm not so sure is there other city skin that is giving infantry HP, but let's say this one. This one is like giving 5% more infantry HP. And to be fair, this 5% is boosting the biggest attack of the infantry. So people have a point, saying that maybe this skin is going to be better from the newest legendary city skin. And that's where the things got really interesting for me, because now we're not comparing bad versus good, we're comparing epic old version against new legendary one. And most players automatically assume new win. But Call of Dragons has taught me something over the years. Stats value isn't equal. A bigger looking stats isn't always the strongest stats. By bigger looking stats, I mean, again, like the HP for the infantry. But again, it strongly depends what is the main purpose of your troop. But anyway, this is my 2 cents that I want to give over the new city skin. That right now the players compare this city skin, for example, with somebody who is getting one mana stone of 10% attack, and this city skin is just removing this 10% attack, which is crazy, to be fair, because if there was a mana stone 10% HP bypass and the HP city skin arrive, people are going to be mad, because again, it's like removing one stone at the end of the day. But anyway, for me, this city skin is actually looking pretty. It's looking very nice. I mean, maybe because of the visuals, I have no idea how they come with this idea. But lately, their city skins are becoming absolutely brutal. Because my takeaway is that some of the strongest players in the game immediately started questioning whether the upgrade was actually an upgrade at all. And whether experienced players start asking that question, I think everybody should pay attention because that's usually where the expensive mistakes are happening. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. Are you planning to go for these infantry city skins, or do you think players are overreacting and skin is actually stronger than people believe? I'm curious how many of you look at the skin and immediately assume it was an upgrade. Because honestly, that was exactly what I did at first.